Well, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for taking time on some of you I know are on your lunch hours, just taking time out of your afternoon to join us. My name is Nicole. I am the Community Outreach Manager for Mid-Minnesota, and we are excited to have you joining us for our estate planning webinar. On the call with us today, we have both Meg and Jason. They are our partners with Legal Karma. They will be doing the presentation for us today. So, Meg, I will let you take it from here.
Hi, everyone. Apologies for the technical difficulties.
Thank you, Meg. I did the introductions, but we were just having a few difficulties. It's all good to go. So I will let you and Jason take it from here. So Meg is going to do the presentation. Jason with Legal Karma is going to answer any questions that happen to come in. So Meg, I'll let you take it from here.
Awesome. And definitely stay tuned until the very end. We will be offering a special discount for all Mid-Minnesota Federal Credit Union members. And then also there's going to be a 1-minute survey, I believe, Nicole, if that's set up, which should pop up. So if it doesn't pop up, then we'll be sure to send it out to everybody. Okay, so a few little housekeeping items, additional ones. So Jason, as Nicole had mentioned, is joined with me on this call. He is here to answer any legal questions that come, or any questions that come up, non-legal questions that come up. We are not attorneys and we cannot provide legal advice, but we are happy to answer any questions from a educational lens. Today is really just an intro on estate planning. If you all do have questions after this presentation, we definitely encourage you to book a call with our team. We offer Spanish speaking as well. If you are more comfortable speaking in Spanish, just reach out to the team and we can provide that contact info for that Spanish individual. But we will be sending a follow-up email after this call, after this presentation, where you can schedule with the team. So quick running through our agenda today. So first we're going to talk about why estate planning matters. Then we're going to talk about what it is, the types of documents, and then finally we're going to talk through about how to get started with Mid-Minnesota Federal Credit Union. All right, so let's jump in. So first, whenever we think about estate planning, it really comes back to one word, and that word is legacy. So to kick things off, let's start with setting an intention around why each of you are here today. And there's really three questions to ask yourself. So the first is, who are the most important people in your life? For me, it's my husband and my son, my 2.5-year-old. Perhaps it could be your family or other loved ones, perhaps friends. The second question is, what matters most for you to protect? Perhaps it's your home, any finances, heirlooms, perhaps. Otherwise, it could also be any general information that you're wanting to protect. For me, it's making sure that my family is cared for financially if I am no longer here, and that everything that I've worked so hard for in my life goes to the people that I truly want. So, what does that word legacy mean to you? At Legal Karma, it's all about passing on the values that we've carried on throughout our lifetime and ensuring that our life's accomplishments and dreams continue to inspire those future generations ahead. So, however you answered these questions, hold on to those answers throughout the presentation because we'll be coming back to them. So, next up is, what is a comprehensive estate plan? And it really comes down to a few different documents. So the common documents that a lot of people will hear about are a healthcare directive, a financial power of attorney, a last will, or a revocable trust. A healthcare directive is allowing you to specify any healthcare wishes and naming an individual to carry out those wishes in the event of your incapacity. Financial power of attorney is again naming somebody to carry out those financial wishes and specifying how you want your finances to be managed in the event of your incapacity. And then we have the last will and revocable trust, and those are really specifying any details around your legacy and how you want your assets to be passed on. So, what is a will? A will is a very basic document that allows you to say what happens to your assets after you pass away. So, who gets what? It also allows you to name any guardians for any minor children or adult children with special needs. And then again, you're going to be nominating or specifying one individual who is called the executor. And this person is going to be managing your assets managing your affairs after you are no longer here. So some key notes here are that a will is only effective after you have passed away or after somebody has passed away. It does go through this state judicial process called probate, which probate is often seen as a slow and stressful and expensive process. Generally, it can cost anywhere from about like ten to $20,000 on a typical estate, but the higher your overall asset value, the higher those probate fees are going to be. So most people do look to avoid this probate process, and that's where a trust comes in. So let's talk a little bit about what a trust is. So there's many different types of trust, and it really depends on like what somebody's overall strategy is. But the most common one and the one that we'll be talking about today is called the revocable living trust. Now, a trust, unlike a will, is a more comprehensive document in the sense that it allows you to say when and how your assets are distributed. So, a trust is a legal set of documents where you're naming a trustee while you are living, you are the trustee of your trust. But after you pass away, you're also naming a successor trustee. You can think of that trustee as like the CEO over all of your assets, and they're managing any of your assets in your trust for on the behalf of the beneficiary. The beneficiary is the individual that will, or individuals that will be receiving your assets. So trusts do many things, but as I mentioned, it gives more control over who gets what, when, and how. So example is if you have any younger children, a will might say that that your kids receive all of your assets, but maybe they're too young to receive such a big inheritance. A trust, on the other hand, will hold assets in the trust until a specific age, and you can set that age, whether it's one age, they receive everything 100% at age 25, or if you wanted to divvy that up over several different ages, and that's called a staggered distribution. So perhaps a 25% at age 25, another 25% at age 30, and the remainder at age 40. While the beneficiaries are under the ages that you've specified, the funds are still accessible for them to use while they're working with the trustee. So again, that successor trustee is managing all the assets, but can give the child or the beneficiary some of the assets for things like college tuition or perhaps like a down payment on a house. They're really working together there. So a trust also remains a private document, unlike a will. When a will goes through probate, it becomes a public document. A trust remains private as it avoids that probate process. And it avoids that probate process because throughout one's lifetime, you're moving assets into the name of the trust or naming your trust as a beneficiary on those assets. A great example I give here is think of a cookie jar. A cookie jar is just a jar unless you put cookies in it. And that's the same thing with a trust. A trust is just a set of documents and wouldn't be avoiding probate unless you change them to say the name of the trust. A deed or home, for example, instead of saying just your name on the deed, a lot of times people will change it to say the name of the trust on the deed. So now that home is a part of the trust and then follows any of these rules that you've specified. A trust is also active during lifetime and includes incapacity coverage, while a will, again, applies only after death or passing. Okay, so let's talk about the differences, recapping some of the differences between a will and a trust. A will, again, is very simple. It covers basic needs. It does allow you to name the executor and guardian. It is only effective after somebody passes away, and then it goes through that state judicial process called probate. A trust gives more control and flexibility. It is effective during one's life and upon incapacity. It's private and avoids probate as you move or name your trust as a beneficiary on assets. And then it's generally easier and less expensive than going through probate. So it's not really a question of whether it's a will versus a trust. They do work together as part of somebody's estate plan. And all estate plans do need a will, but not all estate plans need a trust. So let's talk about some of the reasons why somebody would add a trust. So some of the reasons could include if, again, if somebody has younger children, and they're wanting to have their inheritance managed throughout their lifetime, if there's any complex family dynamics, such as blended families or families that have second or so forth marriages, if somebody's looking to avoid that probate process, if they're wanting to keep their documents private. Again, the will document does become or public upon somebody's passing through probate. And you can actually go through the county records, and see old wills in the county, which is interesting if anybody is interested in doing that. But again, the trust does avoid probate and stays private. And then incapacity planning, the trust is active during one's lifetime. Um, so once it is created and the documents are notarized and signed by you and witnesses, then the trust is established and is active throughout your lifetime. So I hope that does clear up some of the difference between a will and a trust. Now is a great time to just pause and ask any questions of Jason. And I'm going to grab a little water break here. All right, so let's move on to some of the misconceptions about estate planning. And we've got a few for you all today. So the first one is that um, estate planning is only for the ultra wealthy, and this is just simply not true. Estate planning is really for everybody over the age of 18. As we've talked about before, it really allows you to specify your exact wishes that you're wanting and lay them out for your loved ones. Myth number two is that my family already knows what I want. And again, this is simply not true. Without a documents, it's actually far more confusing. There can often be delays in getting your assets to the people that you wanted. And a lot of times, without having any plan in place, there can often be court battles, which we definitely don't want to do to our loved ones after we are no longer here and while they're already going through a grieving process. The third myth here is that it's too complicated and expensive. And it's actually far more complicated and expensive by not having a plan in place. Again, just going back to that probate process, if you don't have a plan in place, it's going to be very complicated. It's going to be very time consuming, and there are fees taken out of it. We've definitely made it more easier and intuitive. And again, we do have amazing people like Jason, who's with me on this call today, to help you out throughout the process. Um, the last one we've got here is that I can always do it later. And unfortunately, the only thing that is true throughout our lifetime is we are going to pass away. We just don't know when that is. So definitely making it a priority to prioritize creating an estate plan and getting it done. It is just generally part of being an adult, similar as how it is to open a bank account or create a life insurance policy. Definitely creating an estate plan should be at the top of our list. It definitely used to be complicated, but through Legal Karma, we have made it much more easier. You can do it from the comfort of your home, um, more accessible, and again, you can just have that help throughout the process. So that's why Legal Karma and Mid Minnesota Federal Credit Union have partnered together. We've made it more affordable, comfortable, and easier estate planning. All right, some of the benefits of having an estate plan. It removes that guesswork from your family that we've talked about before. So, I've been married to my husband for quite some time. We've been together for 13 years and we are still finding things out about one another. So I can only imagine other folks out there who are also learning things out from their significant others. But I definitely wouldn't want my husband to have to figure out what I wanted when I am no longer here. So specifying those wishes and putting them on paper, a legally bound paper, is super important. Nominating guardians for kids and or pets as well. A lot of times our pets are considered kids, furry kids. So you can name guardians or caretakers for any pets as well. Adding empowered trusted agents for any of your health or finances. So going back to those incapacity documents, the power of attorney for your finances, and the medical directive specifying your exact wishes in the event that you aren't able to make those wishes on your own. And then protecting your assets and avoiding that probate process that we've talked quite a bit about. And again, leaving a legacy as intended. So returning to that intention that we originally set at the beginning of this call around why and what legacy means to you. With a plan in place, it's really bringing that peace of mind, which is truly priceless. And that is the spirit of estate planning with Mid-Minnesota Federal Credit Union. So another question we get a lot is, if I have a plan, do I need to update it? And the short answer is yes. So um, estate planning isn't designed and intended to, or estate planning is designed and intended to be updated throughout one's lifetime. It's not a one and done type of thing. So some common reasons that somebody would update their estate plan is really any major life event. So if there's a birth, or if somebody in your family has passed away, if somebody has gotten married or even divorced or moved from one location to another location, it's definitely important to update your documents. If there's any financial changes that have come up, if there's a general change of preference, perhaps you want to change the name of your guardians for your pets or your children, or perhaps you want to specify a gift amount to a local charity that is near and dear to your heart. General passage of time. So best rule of thumb is to at least review your documents every 3 to 5 years. If nothing needs to be updated, then you're good, and it's good to just update every so often. So some of the benefits of doing it with Mid-Minnesota Federal Credit Union, it's definitely budget friendly, easy and convenient, and then there's always going to be that unlimited support that we've talked about quite a bit. We want you to feel confident in the decisions that you're making and educated as well. So the benefits of our estate planning service, it's always going to be clear. There's always going to be upfront pricing, excuse me, and there's never going to be any surprises. It's easy, self-paced. There is a series of questions that you'll be asked. And if for whatever reason you need to pause and come back later, you're always welcome to. Or if you need to hop on the phone with somebody from our team, you're also welcome to. But I do know that the estate planning can bring up new emotions that can be difficult for some folks. So we do have that self-paced questionnaire. And then again, we do offer free unlimited support, whether it's on the phone, or we do have a online chat if you're more comfortable with that, in both English and Spanish. Okay, so let's talk about the different types of packages that we offer. So there's 3 different packages. There's that power of attorney package, which really encompasses the incapacity documents. This package is great for anyone over the age of 18, but really like thinking about if you already have an estate plan in place and you just want to get your power of attorney and advanced healthcare directive documents, or if you have a college student going off to college for the first time, getting these documents in place for them is really important. And then we have the will package there that includes everything with power of attorney, but includes that last will and testament document. So allowing you to specify your wishes when you are no longer here. And then finally, we have that trust package, which includes the revocable trust and pour over will documents, in addition to everything that is in the power of attorney package as well. And the trust package, again, avoids that probate process. Okay, and we've talked about our unlimited support, but you're welcome to jot down that number if you would like, that 218-429-3151 number. I will also show you all how to schedule a call with the team as well, and this information will also be available in the follow-up email that we send out. There's always free appointments or whenever you all want to speak to the team. And then there is that online chat as well. Okay. So, how the process works. So, you are going to log into your Mid Minnesota account, and through the portal, you're going to navigate to the estate planning page. And from there, you're going to take a quick 2 minute survey, and that quiz. And that quiz will based on how you answer the quiz quiz there will be a different product offering that will pop up that others who have had a similar answers to you would also go with. So there will be the will, or perhaps the power of attorney package, or the trust package. And then after you select which plan you want, if there is a recommended plan, so say it's the power of attorney and you don't want to do that one, you can always change as well. After you select your plan, you will be taken to the payment page. And from there, at the very bottom, before you hit complete package or complete purchase, I cannot speak today. Before you hit complete purchase, there is the promo code field that I will give you all a promo code here shortly, and make sure to enter that for the discount. And then finally, after purchase, there will be a series of questions, a guided questionnaire, and you'll need to answer those questions. And those questions will be used to create your documents behind the scenes. Once you have your documents and everything looks good, you will then need to sign and notarize your estate plan. You're welcome to check with your credit union if they offer that. If not, you will need to find a notary to notarize your documents. And once your documents are notarized, that makes them legally binding. So it's best to keep them in a safe place. Let loved ones know where your documents are in the event that they are needed. It's generally not a good rule of thumb to put them in a safety deposit box, because a lot of times folks can't access that. So make sure it's in a place where people can access your documents. Okay, we are going to be wrapping up here shortly, so I want to make sure that if there are any outstanding questions that come through, to be pointing those over to Jason before we wrap up. But in the meantime, if you want to grab your phone, you can go ahead and scan that QR code for a limited time 25% off discount for any estate plan of your choice. And it is going to be valid until the end of the month. So we've got about 14 days left. So if you want to go ahead and scan that, that would be great. And any additional questions coming through, feel free to jot those down. But if you do want to speak with the team, again, you can always schedule that time to talk more in depth to make sure that you are selecting the right plan that fits your needs. All right. And that does conclude our presentation for today. Thank you all for taking the time out of your day to sit with us and learn more about estate planning offerings through Mid Minnesota Federal Credit Union. We are super grateful for your time, and look forward to working with you all. Awesome. Okay, and I am going to end the presentation here. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good rest of your day.